You ever watch a love story unfold so fast, it feels more like a PR rollout than a romance? Well, buckle in, because this is the chapter where everything starts clicking into place. The safari dates, the Instagram breadcrumbs, the straight outta Compton smear, and the moment Meghan Markle goes from suit starlet to royal disruptor. Prince Harry, he was already wounded, wild, and allergic to tradition. Meghan, calculated, charming, and fresh off the Hollywood audition circuit. Together, they didn't just fall in love, they launched a global media saga. And the palace? It never stood a chance. This is the origin story of a royal detonation. They became a secret society of two. Back-to-back dates, the third of which was under the night skies of Botswana, Harry's go-to hot and heavy glamping retreat. Meghan was soon posting a Love Hearts candy inscribed "Kiss Me" on Instagram and the message "Love Hearts in London." Little did the press know, when they photographed Pippa Middleton and Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour in a box at Wimbledon on July 4th, 2016, that the unknown actress filed under incidental people. In the shot was the future bride of the Queen's grandson. Oh, this? 3 dates in, and we're already in Botswana? That's basically Harry's love language. And of course, Meghan's not tagging Harry, but she's tagging London and dropping candy-coated hints on Instagram. She's always been lame, we're just more aware of it now. It was as if Harry was in a trance, a friend said. The infatuation was mutual. Meghan had a weakness for tall, buff, overgrown boys with closely cropped golden beards. Harry was the same physical type as Corey Vitiello, but with the additional conferred allure of royalty. 3 years younger than Meghan, he was both virile and vulnerable, and he was the solution to every problem she had. With Harry at her side, her star meter wouldn't just rise, it would rocket. From penny ante panelist to keynote interview, from front-of-book Q&As to the cover of Vanity Fair, from what's next after Suits to a global supernova. The morning after their first date, she spoke about Harry to a girlfriend as if he were a hot submission from her agent. Do I sound crazy when I say this could have legs? Okay, let's just pause and appreciate the hustle here. Meghan had a type and Harry checked every box, then gilded it with a crown. Virile, vulnerable ginger prince with unresolved trauma. That's some limited edition opportunity. Forget Suits, she was about to star in the role of her life. William knew Harry all too well and feared he was heading for trouble. Every time his brother fell in love, it was an eruption of Vesuvius. You do realize this is the 4th girl you've taken to Botswana? He couldn't help remarking after Harry's starry-eyed account of the trip. William didn't immediately divulge his anxieties about Meghan. Harry introduced her to him in November over relaxed tea in the kitchen of the Cambridge's Kensington Palace apartment. Kate, to Meghan's disappointment, was off in Norfolk with the kids. Meghan had prepared herself for a grilling, but William was far too well-mannered for that. I was looking forward to meeting the girl who has put that silly grin on my brother's face, he told her disarmingly. She felt as welcome by his effortless charm as she was by the Queen's. William's got jokes and receipts. The 4th girl you've taken to Botswana is royal speak for, bro, this is your move. I've seen this film before. And spoiler alert, it doesn't end well. Classic older brother energy, part shade, part concern, all diplomacy. And Meghan? She came braced for interrogation. Cue the inner monologue rehearsal in front of a mirror, but instead got William at his most disarming, charming, polite, and playing host over tea like the future king he is. But don't miss the subtext. Kate's absence isn't just scheduling. Meghan may have charmed William, but the real queen of the royal vibe wasn't even at the table. It was the Sunday Express that first revealed their relationship to the world. The couple had 4 months of delicious privacy before the paper's royal editor, Camilla Tominey, broke the news in October 2016 under the headline, Harry's Secret Romance with TV Star. The press reaction was seismic, not least because Tominey scooped all the competitors, resulting in a porcine scramble for every Meghan morsel their Canadian and LA stringers could provide. Meghan was swarmed when she left her house for the set of Suits. The cable actress, who had slogged so long for name recognition, now played the part of a besieged celebrity, wearing a long dark coat, beanie hat, and dark glasses. In the first round of coverage, she was portrayed as Grace Kelly Redux, an actress, humanitarian, and gender equality campaigner, making it hard not to believe that the initial leak came from Meghan's side. The second round, however, struck a different tone, forcing Meghan to experience the full-on bare-toothed barracuda swarm of hacks on the royal beat. It was perhaps inevitable that the same malevolent scribes who had heaped scorn on the class and looks of the other royal women would go after Meghan on race, practically throwing their backs out as they stooped to new lows. Yet Harry seemed to lay little or no groundwork for the presentation of his biracial girlfriend to the media. His bloody-minded refusal to have any truck with the press, even when it was in his own obvious interests, and hers, made him deny royal correspondents any elegantly pre-planned disclosure of his new relationship. The random tip-off to Camilla Tominey and the Sunday Express meant Harry had no control over the other papers, which were now intent on payback. The Mail's November 2nd, 2016, piece about Meghan was a textbook example of monstering by association. Headlined, "Harry's Girl is Almost Straight Outta Compton," it was so odiously and casually racist, it became Exhibit A in Harry and Meghan's righteous war with the press. Ah, yes, the end of the delicious privacy era. 4 months of glamping, emojis, and Whisper Network introductions, and then boom, front page frenzy. Of course, it was Camilla Tominey who blew the lid off, and while Meghan played the part of the startled Cinderella in dark glasses, it's hard not to side-eye just how ready she was for her close-up. Now, to be fair, the press didn't just swarm, they devoured. The racist headlines, the snide dog whistles, especially that straight outta Compton trash, were absolutely vile. But let's not miss the irony. Harry's refusal to manage the optics gave the tabloids open season. Meghan didn't leak the story? Maybe. But it sure worked in her favor at first. It was always going to be war, but Harry picked a fight without a strategy. Used to publicist-fed entertainment coverage and magazine puff pieces in return for access, American celebrities often find themselves dazed by the sheer demonic creativity of the British popular press. If you are not the target, the tabloids tearing through other people's reputations is a guilty pleasure of the English breakfast table, like the tartness of orange marmalade. No one knew better than Harry what the British press was capable of. He had seen it all, from the primordial trauma of his mother's last hours, to the brutal invasions of his previous girlfriend's privacy, and the monstering of every woman in the royal family except the Queen. The Sun went to town with the headline, "Fancy a quick puck?" alleging Meghan's marriage had broken up because of a fling with the Canadian ice hockey player Michael Del Zotto. They were more revoltingly inventive still, with a front-page boxed-out item headlined, "Harry's Girl on Pornhub," based on some random guffawing yabo uploading suit scenes to the porn site without Meghan's knowledge or permission. Meghan felt sick to her stomach when she saw that, a friend told biographers Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand. She wanted to shout. She was upset and angry. Harry went ballistic. He stormed in to see the Kensington Palace communications team he shared with Prince William and demanded they blast out a statement of condemnation. William also reportedly questioned the wisdom of his brother, formally confirming his romance with Meghan. He was wary of Harry's fight-or-flight media strategy. As regards to Meghan, it was unprecedented for the palace to issue a statement about a girlfriend after a courtship of only 4 months. Most royal girlfriends without a ring on their finger were left to twist in the wind. Meghan's arrival, however, required an amped-up press strategy. Jason Knopf advised Harry in the crafting of a robust statement in defense of Meghan. Released on November 8, 2016, it condemned in the strongest terms the smear on the front page of a national newspaper, the racial undertones of comment pieces, and the outright sexism and racism of social media trolls and web article comments. Letting fly was exhilarating for Harry. He had defended Meghan in a way that he never could have defended his mother. And he was experiencing something new, accolades from the intelligent media. For Meghan, the statement was her quantum leap. She absorbed her new identity ravenously. On the moral high ground after clearly heinous press treatment, Meghan was close to invincible. 7 months before her wedding to Harry, Meghan achieved her heart's desire and burst bare-shouldered onto the cover of Vanity Fair. Scattering tantalizing narrative breadcrumbs for Oprah's delectation in the future, she told the writer, "I'm sure there will be a time when we will have to come forward and present ourselves and have stories to tell." This is the part where the British tabloids went full goblin mode, and Harry, predictably, lit the match and poured gasoline on the whole circus. Let's be clear, the Pornhub headline was beyond disgusting. Casual racism, misogyny, and a grotesque invasion of privacy all wrapped in one cheeky tabloid bow. Meghan had every right to feel violated. And Harry? He wasn't just furious, he was triggered. This wasn't just about Meghan anymore. It was about Diana. It was about Chelsea. It was about every woman he'd watched be chewed up and spat out while the palace twiddled its gloved thumbs. So when he marched into the Kensington Comms office demanding a scorched earth statement, it wasn't just personal, it was symbolic. For the first time, he stood up. For a woman. Against the institution. But here's the twist. While Harry was fighting ghosts, Meghan was collecting armor. That public statement, that was her coronation moment. Suddenly, she wasn't just an actress or a girlfriend, she was a cause. A heroine wronged. A woman of color silenced and then vindicated, and she knew exactly what to do with it. By the time she made it to the Vanity Fair cover, bare-shouldered and wide-eyed, she was already plotting the Netflix arc. "We'll have stories to tell," she said, like a woman with a publishing deal and a docuseries in the cart. Now that Meghan was a feminist heroine, tensions with the more senior royal beauty, the Duchess of Cambridge, offered an irresistible storyline to the tabloids, who always loved to stoke rivalry between women. The two beauties got on impeccably, or well enough, at their first meeting in January 2017. And yet, just as in the days when Princess Diana's new updo upstaged the Queen at the opening of Parliament, the increasing media comparisons of Meghan to Kate, invariably casting Kate as dull and dutiful, began to inject tension. In February 2018, 3 months before the wedding, William, Kate, Harry, and Meghan, the Fab Four, as they were now unoriginally dubbed, made their first official appearance together to announce that Meghan would become a fourth patron of the Royal Foundation. Meghan had promised in the interview to hit the ground running, an expression that filled the palace, an institution of cautious consensus, with dread. The firm's staff had already seen what that meant. The British work ethic is a frustration for any alpha American hell-bent on hitting the ground running. A palace veteran laid out the misunderstanding to me. If you are an actress on a TV show in America, you have a number of staff who are literally paid by the hour to work for you. So your business manager, your agent, your stylist, maybe your publicist, etc., are there to meet your demands without question. You are therefore never wrong, and it is all exactly what you want. But when you move to a situation where you've got full-time members of staff who work for an institution, the palace, they're employees, not contracted people, they work within a policy framework. One assumes that the transition was probably not easy for Meghan, and for someone from the States, not welcome at all. And a big cultural shock about, well, here I am, I've become much more famous than I could have ever imagined. And yet, the way she is served in her mind has not risen with that. What the palace staff saw as her willful blindness to institutional culture was a direct clash with Meghan's worldview. They just couldn't deal with Meghan's level of directness, a palace source explained to me. Harry, who had always chafed at the hierarchy himself, was the last person to want to tell her to slow down. They were both now drunk on a shared fantasy of being the instruments of global transformation who, once married, would operate in the celebrity stratosphere once inhabited by Princess Diana. Meghan couldn't, and wouldn't, bide her time to get there. She was 36. This was her big break. Alas, she seemed oblivious to the one critical factor that would determine the outcome of her plans for the future: primogeniture. Calling her agent just wouldn't help there. Yet this age-old institutional truth could not have been more clear. The Duchess of Cambridge was pregnant for the third time, causing Meghan's future husband to slip even further down in the line of succession. When Kate became queen, Meghan would have to curtsy to her. In royal terms, Prince Harry, second son of the Prince of Wales, brother to the future king who would soon have 3 children, was, just as Meghan had been in Suits, number 6 on the call sheet. This is where the fairy tale smacks into the brick wall of protocol, and Meghan, bless her Hollywood hustle, walked right into it in heels. From the moment she promised to hit the ground running, the courtiers flinched like someone had dropped an iced oat milk latte on the palace rug. Meghan came in with a resume, a vision board, and no clue that the royal family's favorite word is eventually. She thought she was joining a leadership summit. Instead, she walked into a centuries-old game of wait your turn, with Kate as the queen-in-waiting and Harry somewhere behind a corgi in the line of succession. And the comparisons? Oh, they were brutal. Kate, stoic, silent, silk-bloused and pantyhosed. Meghan, strapless, barefoot, and armed with talking points on gender equity. The media loved it because nothing sells like a duchess-on-duchess PR smackdown. And Meghan, for all her savvy, didn't seem to get that being louder doesn't make you senior. And Harry, he wasn't about to explain the rules. He hated the rules. They were now Bonnie and Clyde with a Kensington postcode, planning their royal revolution. So when the courtiers rolled their eyes and whispered that Meghan just doesn't get it, they weren't wrong. She didn't. And by the time she did, she'd already burned the handbook. By the time Meghan was posing bare-shouldered on the cover of Vanity Fair, the transformation was complete. The girl next door from Suits had ascended, stylists, headlines, moral high ground, and all. And Harry? He was basking in it, fists clenched at the tabloids, finally feeling like he was doing right by a woman in his life. But behind the palace gates, the chaos was setting in. Staff were confused. William was concerned. And Meghan was already outpacing the system she'd just married into, talking like a changemaker, moving like a star, and bristling at every delay. For her, the monarchy felt less like a family and more like a studio dragging its feet on greenlighting her next project. She wasn't going to wait around for tradition to catch up. She had plans, and patience had no place in them. If you're enjoying this, do like and subscribe. See you next time.